So, good morning. Remember, breathe, check for symptoms of dry cough, fever, shortness of breath, and a litany of new other symptoms that have developed and come about. Check on each other, check on your mom. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and check on the ones that you love. Now let's take a step back. There's the FDA recently just issued an emergency use authorization, which means that they're issuing authorization for the sake of this pandemic, another type of testing that's being developed. It's not new, but it's called antigen testing. Are you confused yet? Yeah, it can be really confusing. We have antibody testing to see whether or not you've had the virus and recovered. That can give you a slight idea of your immune status, hopefully whether or not you can be immune for the IgG response for antibodies. There's the PCR testing or virus testing, which is the nasal swabs where they swabbed, and it's really, really accurate to see whether or not you're actively infected. Antibody testing is also called serology. So when you hear antibody, say serology. When you hear PC testing, think virus, nasal swab, or PCR. And there's this new one now called antigen testing. An antigen is something on the surface of a pathogen, the surface of a virus, or something that can hurt us, or a particle that can actually trigger the immune response. So when the virus gets in, it has antigens on the outside of it that make the immune system respond with antibodies and cytokines and a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you remember, the pathogen is the virus. Outside of the virus is the antigen. The immune system detects the antigen and triggers the response. So now, what does that mean? That means that instead of the resources needed for antibody testing or the PCR testing, we're able to take potentially have a rapid test for what the antigens on the outside of the cells. Like I said all that to say, are you familiar with it? Yes. The rapid strep test that you get at the office, we're able to do. It's not quite as accurate as a PCR, but antigen testing is accurate enough that we could do it with few resources and do it in mass quantities. There's one company working on a saliva test that we can do. And it can be, like as I said, all of this by detecting the things that stimulate an antibody or immune response called antigens are done really rapidly with low numbers of resources and can be mass produced. So this is a step in the right direction. Remember, antigens are on the outside of the virus and they trigger the immune response. Totally different than antibodies that come in and can tell you whether or not you've been infected, but being able to test for them allows for a rapid test that can be done in large quantities, which is what we need right now. I hope I haven't confused you. If I have, let me know. Remember, breathe, check, step back. Have a good day.